Hello, it is I, your host, Three Dog, and welcome to the Wasteland. Sorry about that all. I'm a little bit too sick right now, so I can't do any rip-offs of the awesome Three Dog, and will instead have to stick to the old good-fashioned Jack Decker welcome. Howdy all fans, it is I, your host, Jack Decker, the host with the most, and there is a gigantic horse sticking its head out of the car in front of me. Okay, that is a weird sight to see. Okay, well, anyway, going back to the original plot line for today's episode. As I said in the last episode, I rebooted old Fallout 3. I just hit the Replicated Man quest, which I definitely don't remember from the first time with the whole Commonwealth and trying to find the Replicated Man and Dr. Zimmer and everything. So I guess this is the subtle hint tie-in of what they were going to be doing in the next game. Anyway, since I was doing this whole thing as a nostalgic backstrip to be like, yeah, when Fallout 4 comes out, I'm going to be all back into the system, remember all the lore better, and be able to jump right into it feet running without having to look up the wicket going, okay, what's supposed to be happening here? So the Fallout 4 commercial at E3 was awesome. Actually, I think it came out slightly before E3, but I didn't get to see it till E3, so E3 it is when it came out. Haha! Rewriting history through my own ignorance. Anyway, got to see the reveal trailer. Great time. See all the in-game engine. I was looking around the internet and everybody's complaining about the graphics. My first thought is, come on, dudes. So what? You cannot see every single hair on the damn dog. That it's not all vectored properly so that the wind blows it and you see every little silly little hair fly in the wind. The amount of processing power that requires, plus space on the hard drive, you could probably add another settlement to the game, for Pete's sake, with full voice dialogue, probably a couple quests, the buildings, the characters. I would much rather have the graphics, excuse me, that they have right now in that game, and they expand more the universe, that it's even bigger than, I think Skyrim was the largest map. I think right now the largest sandbox game out there, yeah, I'm a little bit out the date, sorry, was Far Cry 3 or 4, whatever the most recent one is, in that Panamanian jungle. I would like to see a sandbox universe even larger than that, larger than Grand Theft Auto 5. And if they have to do that by sacrificing my ability to see every little hair on the dog, I am fine with that. Plus, I like this one. It's definitely much more vibrant, much more colorful. Actually, I feel this universe is much more alive. Now, when you look at the past games, which were more right after closer to the nuclear blast, radiation, poisoning, and devastation can last for hundreds to thousands of years, depending upon how bad it is, how bad the initial burst is. And assuming these are even more scientific than the hydrogen bombs we got today, the amount of radiation they could probably throw out over the entire wasteland, who knows? We should be lucky anybody's alive. So in those games, the much more darker color palette, yeah, I can understand it. Plus, then the graphics limitations of the time for Fallout 3 and New Vegas. But with Project Purity, hopefully that's actually being able to export again some clean water to make up for the devastation. In which case, nature's going to try to survive and thrive again. Plus, let's face it, in the case of Fallout New Vegas, it's in the middle of the desert. There wasn't that much vegetation to begin with. In the case of Fallout 3, it's either in DC or right outside DC, both of which were heavily major metropolitan areas that probably take even longer. However, look at Chernobyl. Real-life examples. Chernobyl. There was a great series, I think, on Discovery Channel about actual ghost towns, abandoned cities that were abandoned, that you see nature coming back in force. Or what was that series? After Man, where you saw that nature would reclaim all these cities and they'd be bright and beautiful again. Nature is very strong. Nature, we have to fight back nature every day when we live in the city. It's not It's not like the city is destroying the wildlife around it. The wildlife initially, when a city goes up, is impacted very negatively, but then it adapts itself. You have all these animals that adapt themselves to their city living, where they can find food. They learn the streets. They learn how to get around, where good food areas are at. Nature fights back constantly against the city. Without humans there, the city would fall victim to nature. So the much more expanded color palette, I think, is much more believable, personally. I mean, it's a much more believable environment, and I think it would be more, considering how long it is after the nuclear blast, there's got to be some healing going on somewhere. Nature wants to restore itself. Nature is very restorative. It does not like what mankind does to it, and does everything it can to tell us it's not, we're not the boss of it. So it should be recovering. So maybe it's not as dark, as gritty. You're still going to have plenty of areas that are still not recovered, probably inner city areas or inner settlement areas inside the game. There's still going to be plenty dark and gritty for all those quests that require those more grisly themes to them. Outside it, let's face it, there's a lot of dark humor that goes on in the Fallout universe, and a lot of other just plain out weird humor that goes on. Perfect environment for all excuse me, all of these nice bright colors to thrive in. So the color palette, the only thing I have to say that I disagree with slightly might be the fact that everything looks a little bit more plastic under this color palette. They had, a Protectron roaming through the looked like maybe a collapsed highway, and it looked like it was made more of plastic than of metal, which from an aesthetics perspective, since the older games, it seems like everything was made out of metal, since it was all that 50s style architecture and color palettes. Maybe you could argue that this was maybe switching everything from metal to that more plastic look. I don't know if it's just the game engine or they want things to be more plastic. Again, we're going to a whole new area. This one is going to be much more scientific than older areas. We have confirmed that we're going to have the Institute. I'm assuming the MIT is going to be the Institute. They're much more technology based. We saw the flying ship throughout the intro. These areas are going to be much more highly technological, which probably helps explain the plastic use more. So that could also help to explain why the area is greener, because Project Purity, which got started in DC, since if the Institute is highly advanced enough to make all these synthetic humans, probably was working on water reclamation even before Dr. What's-His-Face started it in DC for Project Purity. Or he escaped from the Commonwealth, went to DC, tried to do Project Purity on his own for whatever philosophical reason, and then probably if that's the case, then if he started in the Commonwealth at the Institute, then they've probably made much more dramatic strides in that area, since he was locked in a vault for 20 years. So, and it can be seen, the fact that they have what looks like in those those art stills, and drivers that are idiots that don't know how to drive on the damn street. Pardon me for that. Okay, but you look at the old production still, the new production stills. You have what looks like that virtual reality lounge from that Anchorage DLC for Fallout 3. Again, they've used it, they've turned it into a lounge, probably in the same vein as the old opium-style lounges. The full feeling immersion, get to feel what it was like back in the glory days before the bombs. So and the fact that they've been able to tear that out of the vault, set it up, and it's a private company to be used for something as low-key as just, hey, I want to remember the good old days, instead of the one commercial I think I saw on Shoddycast that he made it look like that they would use it for military training for U.S. soldiers to go against China before the Battle of Anchorage, get them combat experience before actually throwing them into the meat grinder. That type, which would be a much more efficient use for that type of technology, assuming that if they're willing to enslave robots, that there's probably some totalitarian angle to them of some sort. So if they're willing to enslave robots, they probably have some sort of combat. Either they are used to using all the robots to perform that infantry role, or they have decided that they either have the technology and can use it regardless, even with sparing some pods for recreational use, or just don't care since they have the synths and just have the robots do all the fighting and all of the smooth skins just do all of the command work from a safe bunker somewhere and get to use it for recreational purposes. Enter the Matrix for recreation rather than enslavement. So it's obviously that much more technological world. I'll give more viewpoints on what I saw from the E3 trailer and my own what I hope and what I don't hope from the game next time. Thank you all. It is I, the wonderful Jack Decker, signing off. Thank you for listening to the Daily Decker. I hope you all got your daily dose of news. I know it's not daily yet, but we're working on that, so give us some time, okay? Thank you for watching, listening, or however you absorb your media, maybe intravenously. Please, if you like the video, please hit the like button below. If you want to help support us so that we know we have some loyal fans following us, hit that big red subscribe button. And if nothing else, just post some comments below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you next time.
Show